Hare Krishna. In modern science, the entire phenomena of sun traveling towards northern direction and southern direction is explained by a phenomena called as axial tilt. The earth axis is inclined approximately by 23.439 degrees toward the ecliptic. The ecliptic is the apparent path of the sun on the celestial sphere, and it is the basis for the eclipse coordinate system. It also refers to the plane of this path, which is popular with the orbit of earth around the sun, and hence the apparent orbit of the sun around the earth. It's nothing but, from Vedic point of view, the ecliptic is the time wheel. So the modern observers keep the sun stationary in the middle, and the earth is moving around itself and then moving around the sun with an inclination of 23.5 degrees approximately. This indicates that the sun crosses the equator at both the equinoxes. Its daily shift relative to the background stars is at an angle to the equator. This angle actually indicates that as it proceeds from southernmost point to northernmost point, the angle in which it is tilted, it remains same, because of which the sun appears to be moved downward and upward, which causes the change in seasons. That is how the modern science explains. Here and we can see it clearly. In the month of December, the southern pole experiences full day light and northern pole experiences full day darkness. And here in the month of March, both the southern pole and northern pole experience equal amount of daytime and night time. And in the month of June, the north pole experiences 24 hours daytime, south pole experiences 24 hours night time. And again in the month of September, just similar to March, both the north pole and south pole experiences 12 hours of day and night. Again the same thing repeats from December to March, June, September, again December. This is how the entire phenomena has been explained about the suns moving towards north and south. Here and we can see in the month of December there is summer to the south of the equator. There is winter to the north of the equator. The sun shines directly on the southern hemisphere and indirectly on the northern hemisphere. And then in the month of March, fall in the south of the equator, there is spring in the north of the equator. The sun shines equally on the southern and northern hemispheres. And then in the month of June, there will be winter on the south of equator and there will be summer in the north of equator. The sun shines directly on the northern hemisphere and indirectly on the southern hemisphere. Then again in the month of September, there is spring in the south and there is fall in the north. The sun shines equally on both the southern and northern hemispheres. This is how the seasons are getting changed, and the change in seasons is explained as per modern observers.
The Earth rotates on an axis. The axis is tilted at an angle of 23.5 degrees. The Earth rotates around its axis once a day. The tilt of the axis affects when seasons occur. When the axis tilts toward the sun, the northern hemisphere experiences summer, while the southern hemisphere experiences winter. In half a year, the Earth will revolve elliptically counterclockwise around the sun, while the axis stays tilted at 23.5 degrees. When the axis tilts away from the sun, the northern hemisphere then experiences winter, and the southern hemisphere experiences summer. The axis of rotation.
This is how the seasons throughout the year keeps changing, keep repeating. Herein we see another simulation about how the sun keeps moving gradually upward and then eventually downward by showing 1 day revolution of sun of each and every month. Now sun is situated on the top of the time wheel. Now gradually, month after month, it will keep coming. In a particular month, the sun appears to be moving in the same horizontal plane in the right hand side part of the simulation. Now is in the bottommost point and then eventually is going upward. Now again he came back to the original position in the month of Mesha. This is how it is happening. Now we will discuss the fourth phenomena, that is called the Science of Eclipses. The modern scientific observers speak on the subject matter very elaborately. It is mentioned in their observations, in their documentations, that it just happens that the moon and the sun appears the same size in the sky as viewed from the earth. The moon and sun, when the angle is measured, it comes around 0.5 degrees. Both are seen of similar size. Since the moon's orbit is situated around earth in approximately the same plane as the earth's orbit around the sun, sometimes the moon comes directly between the earth and the sun. Just the plane which is there on which the earth is revolving around the sun, the same plane the moon is revolving almost. So because of which sometimes the moon comes in between earth and the sun, sometimes the moon comes in the same line of the sun, earth, and then other part is moon. This kind of arrangement is called a eclipse. If the alignment is slightly imperfect, then the moon covers only part of the sun's disk and the event is called partial eclipse. When it lines up perfectly the entire solar disk, then it blocks the entire solar disk, and that is called as total solar eclipse. Partial eclipses are visible over a wide area of the earth, but the region from which a total eclipse is visible is spread to few tens and kilometers. Eclipses of the sun happens over twice a year. For a few minutes it gets dark in the middle of the day. The stars come out. The animals and birds think it is time to sleep, and this can be observed physically, seeing the solar eclipse and the solar corona around the orbit of the solar. But the Vedic understanding of the eclipse is little different. It is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam as, formerly, when nectar was being disturbed, after churning the milk ocean, when nectar was obtained, when that nectar was being distributed, Rahu tried to create dissension between the sun and moon by interposing himself between them. Thus, Rahu became inimical towards both sun and moon when he was obstructed from drinking nectar by both sun and moon. He always tries to cover the sunshine and moonshine on the dark moon day and the full moon night respectively. This is called as eclipse. The pastime goes like this, as it is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Once, when the Danavas dethroned the Devatas from their position in the heavenly abodes, all the Devatas went to the bank of Kshirosagar and petitioned to Lord Vishnu. Then Lord Vishnu requested all the Devatas to make a truce with Danavas, and putting all the herbs into milk ocean, churn the milk ocean to obtain nectar. And Lord promised them that I will enable all of you to drink nectar and not the Danavas. Keeping that words of the Supreme Lord in the mind, that the Devatas went to Danavas and made a truce. Then both of them combined together began to churn the ocean. As they were churning the ocean, initially Alahala came. They requested Lord Shiva to accept it. Lord Shiva accepted it. And then many other products appeared from the churning of milk ocean. So some of them were accepted by Devatas, some of them are accepted by Danavas. But eventually, as they were churning, at the end there appeared the nectar. Lord Dhanvantari appeared from the ocean of milk, taking all the nectar in a pot of nectar. As he came out of the milk ocean with the nectar pot, Danavas attacked on him and took the nectar pot with them. Then when the Devatas prayed to Supreme Lord that all our endeavor has become futile, then the Supreme Lord appeared in the form of a Mohini Murti. And then, by his illusory manifestation of beauty, he attracted the minds of all the Danavas. Then the Danavas gave the responsibility of distributing the nectar to all the Danavas equally to Mohini Murti. But Mohini Murti, through her charismatic words, put the Danavas in illusion and began to distribute the nectar to Devatas. As she was distributing the nectar to Devatas, the Danava Rahu understood that we, the Danavas, are not going to get the nectar. Then he changed his form as a Devata and he went in the midst of the Devatas and sat in between both sun and moon. As the Mohini Murti was serving the nectar, she also served a small portion of nectar to Rahu. While he just put that nectar in his mouth, both sun and moon identified him to be a Danava, not a Devata. Then Mohini Murti, that is Lord Vishnu, invoked his Sudarshan Chakra and cut off the neck of Rahu. Since the nectar was available in the mouth of Rahu and the neck was cut off, the face of the Rahu became immortal and the body became dead instantly. Then, eventually, the Supreme Lord, in order to show the potency of nectar, kept that head alive. But in other Puranas, this is the narration of the Srimad Bhagavatam, but in other Puranas it is explained that it was not only Rahu. There was Ketu also sat along with Rahu, and Ketu was served the nectar first, who swallowed the nectar went into the body of Ketu, and then Rahu was given the nectar. At that point of time, both sun and moon identified them to be the Danavas. Then the Supreme Lord cut off the necks of both the people. But since the nectar went into the body of Ketu, the Ketu's body remained alive and head was destroyed. And Rahu's face was remained alive and his whole body was dead. Then, understanding the predicament and not to destroy the effect of nectar, Brahma and all the Devatas decided that with the help of the great sages, these two personalities can be revived. Then they invoked one snake, one great serpent. Then they cut off the neck of the snake and they added the hood, the mouth, the face part of the snake to Ketu, whose body is alive, and they added the body of the snake to the head of Rahu, whose head is alive. Thus both Rahu and Ketu since then became the persons with human head, snake body, and snake head, human body. And Lord Brahma made them the in charges of the two planets, Rahu and Ketu. Since then they both began to stay in the planets known as Rahu and Ketu, and they accepted the oblations offered in their names as a medium representatives of the Supreme Lord. But being they are enemies, they keep causing trouble to people in general and trouble to the Devatas now and then. And specifically in order to take revenge both on sun and moon, who stopped them from drinking nectar, they tries to attack the sun and moon on Parvanim, on full moon day and new moon day, once in a while. As and when time comes, they attack them. But when the sun and moon are, either of the sun or moon are attacked by Rahu or Ketu, all the Devatas come together and offer their wonderful prayers to Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then the Supreme Lord sends his Sudarshan Chakra. As Sudarshan Chakra pursues Rahu or Ketu, who attacked the moon or sun, unable to tolerate the heat of Sudarshan Chakra, they give up their attack on sun or moon and go away. The total eclipse generally is said to be lasting for a duration of 1 to 3 muhurtas. One muhurta is like attacking, one muhurta is completely attacking, the other muhurta is kind of release. That is the reason culturally it was said that during the time of eclipse we are not supposed to do any ritualistic ceremonies, any activities. Stay in the home and chant holy names of the Supreme Lord. When the eclipse is over, then take bath, purify all the ingredients in the home, then cook again, offer to Supreme Lord, and then accept it. This is the culture followed in the country. These are a set of images that are being used to worship the Navagrahas. Among those Navagrahas, Rahu and Ketu are there. Here in the left hand side there is Rahu with human head. In the right hand side there is Ketu with snake head. This is another image of Rahu with whole snake body and human head. This is how it is said that he eats up the sun and moon once in a while out of sheer anger toward them. As it was explained by the modern science that the sun and earth are situated on a plane, ecliptic plane, and the moon, who is orbiting around earth, comes sometimes in between sun and earth. Sometimes the moon goes on the other side of the earth, because of which there will be a situation called as solar eclipse or lunar eclipse. This is the orbits of sun and moon. The descending node represents the Ketu, the ascending node represents Rahu. When both sun and moon come at these points of descending node, ascending node, that will be the proper time for eclipse. Here there is another image which shows that Rahu is generally indicated the head of the snake, Ketu indicated the tail of the snake, which actually eats up the planets, sun or moon, which is called as Graha. Here is the phenomena is shown that how the eclipse happens at the node point. As moon comes in front of the sun during this node time, there will be solar eclipse. As moon is in the opposite side of the node with respect to sun, then there will be lunar eclipse. But as per the understanding of the Vedic literature, it was not just sun, earth and moon comes in the straight line. It is Rahu that comes in between moon and earth, which causes lunar eclipse. And when Rahu comes in between earth and moon, wherein moon is already in between sun and earth, that causes solar eclipse. The understanding is generally the sun and moon provide auspicious rays. Getting them in our place, we get auspiciousness and purification of our atmosphere and our existence. But during the time of eclipse, the Rahu want to stop those auspicious rays which are coming to us, and he stops the rays of either sun or moon during the time of sun, solar and lunar eclipse respectively, and he sends his own inauspicious rays to us. So because of which we were told that during the time of eclipse not to come out of the home and not to engage in any kind of ritualistic ceremonies, etc., etc. Just chant the holy names of the Lord for our protection. Herein there is another image of solar eclipse and lunar eclipse by the presence of Rahu in the same alignment. And some say that Rahu may come, may not come in the same alignment. Though he may come, he may not come, but during the time of the nodal period, he actually cuts the rays of the sun or moon that are coming to us, and he sends forth his own evil influence upon us, because of which we will be subjected to an eclipse. And it is also mentioned that Generally the Rahu is in the black color and Ketu is in the dark brown color. During the eclipse that is caused by Rahu, we can see that the orb of the sun or moon covered by Rahu will appear black. If the orb of the sun or moon is covered by Ketu, the orb appears like a dark moon color. Generally, there will be a lunar month that the alignment of sun and moon happens once in every 29.5946 days. Once in every 6 months, that is after every 177.5 days, the sun and moon touch upon a nodal point. The 12 lunar months complete within every 355.135 days. Thus, there is an occurrence of an eclipse after every 6th lunar month. A solar eclipse may possibly come after every 6th lunar month, and similarly a lunar eclipse also may come after every 6th lunar month. But sometimes, due to the presence of an extra month which is called as Adhika Mas also, there will be an eclipse just after the 5th month or after the 7th month also. Thus, after 147.97 days there could be another eclipse, and after 207.16 days there will be another eclipse. Thus, sometimes there will be an eclipse in 2 subsequent months because of Adhika Mas. This month there is a partial eclipse, and next month also there will be another partial eclipse. Thus, there can be total 5 eclipses in a year: 2 solar, 3 lunar, or 3 solar, 2 lunar. For example, in the month of January in the beginning of January there is a solar eclipse, and at the end of January there will be a lunar eclipse, and after 6 months there will be another solar eclipse, and within the same month there will be another lunar eclipse, and at the end of the year, again in the month of December, there could be another solar eclipse or lunar eclipse, maybe partial, maybe full. Thus there will be at max 5 eclipses in a year. Herein we can see a simulation which shows that solar eclipse. In the beginning all the 3 were in the same line, and thus though sun and moon coming in the same line, but because Rahu is not in the same alignment, the eclipse is not causing after every Purnami. But herein we can see after the passage of 6 months, that is after around 177.6 days, the sun, moon, Ketu, earth came the same alignment, causing a full solar eclipse. And again, as it was allowed to move further for another 177 days, the eclipse may possibly appear at the end of 355 days. Herein, as we see, there could be a possibility of eclipse, may not be complete eclipse. There could be a partial eclipse of the sun. As they were allowed to move further, herein we can see that there could be another eclipse after another 177 days. Herein there is a possibility of again a partial or little more than half eclipse because of the presence of earth, Ketu, moon and sun on the same line. This is how the solar eclipse keeps happening after every 6 months. If the Rahu, there is no involvement of Rahu, there could be eclipse after every 15 days. But the modern science says that because of the orbital tilt of the sun's orbit and the moon's orbit, only during the nodal point happen this eclipse. That understanding of the nodal point is due to Rahu and Ketu also. Herein we see how lunar eclipse happens. Just the way solar eclipse happens after every 177 days, lunar eclipse also happens after every 177 days, that is after every 6 lunar months. Herein we see, in this particular case, sun is on the one side of the earth and moon is on the other side of the earth. Here, due to the presence of little improper alignment, there could be a partial eclipse of the moon. and then as they were allowed to move further for another 6 lunar months. When Sun comes on the other side of Earth, that is when he comes towards Rahu, there will be possibility of another eclipse. Herein we see that all the four are in the same line, causing full lunar eclipse. Thus, if they are allowed to move further for 6 more months, then herein we can see the complete perfect lunar eclipse. This is how sometimes there will be partial eclipses, there will be full eclipses, which generally happens over every 6 months. But sometimes due to adhikamas, due to extra additional lunar month in the calendar, there could be a possibility of eclipse after 5 months or after 7 months. This is the understanding how the eclipses are forming. The details of some of the eclipses that were happening, that are going to happen, are presented here. The left side we can see the lunar eclipses, and the right side we can see the solar eclipses. Some of the eclipses are called partial, some of them are called total, some of them are called penumbral, and some of them are called hybrid also. Herein we can see how eclipses are happening once in every 6 lunar months. The first lunar months happened on the 26th January 2010. Then after 6 months there is no eclipse. There could have been a partial, very minute partial eclipse, sometimes it may not have happened also. But in the month of December there was another eclipse, and then followed by the month of June there is another eclipse, and then in the December another eclipse. Thus there is eclipse after every 6 months. Here in the right side we can see there is one eclipse in January, and then July, and then again January. In 2011 there are, in the left hand side there are 2 lunar eclipses, in the right side there are 3 solar eclipses. First happened on the 4th January 11, second happened on the 1st June or 1st July 2011, and third will happens on 25th November 2011. Thus there is 5 eclipses in 1 year, and there is eclipse after 5 months only. June to November is just 5 months. Same as we continue here, and we can see the current years. In the year 2018, on 31st January there was lunar eclipse, and 15th February, just after 15 days of the lunar eclipse, there is solar eclipse. And then in July, on July 13th there is solar eclipse, which is partial, and on 27th July there is total lunar eclipse. And then 11th August 18 there is partial solar eclipse, and then again on 5th or 6th January 19 there will be partial solar eclipse, and 21st January there will be full lunar eclipse, and then 2nd July 19th there will be total solar eclipse, and 16th or 17th July 19 there will be partial eclipse. Likewise, there are approximate expected dates of the eclipses is presented in these slides. Thus, in this last presentation, from the beginning we were discussing how there is passing of day and night, how the day and night is happening over our Earth globe. The same thing can be understood with respect to Jambudvipa and the entire Bhumandala. And then we were discussing how the days and night combining together makes months and years, aeons, etc., etc. While discussing the same, we also discussed how the phases of the moon are changing by the relative position of sun and moon in the zodiac wheel. And then we were discussing about the vertical motion of the sun with respect to the earth in the zodiac wheel, as it was tilted in an angle, thus causing different seasons in our earth globe. And then with the help of same understanding, we also discussed about the formation of eclipse, the science of eclipse from scientific understanding and Vedic understanding, and when it can happen approximately, etc., etc. Thus These four things were briefly presented so that we can understand how these four things are happening as per the descriptions given in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Just as in a house, electricity regulates coolness, heat, light, sound, etc., so the sun's rays control heat and cold, day and night, summer and winter, darkness and light throughout the universe. The Vedic geocentric model explains how the sun moves around the pole star situated vertically above Earth's north pole. As the sun goes around the Earth globe, we experience day and night. The stationary Earth, unlike the pole star, does not revolve on its own axis, though it is slightly tilted toward the pole star. During summer in the northern hemisphere, the North Pole experiences 6 months of daylight. Conversely, during summer in the southern hemisphere, the South Pole experiences 6 months of daylight. These 6-month periods correspond to a day and night for the demigods living in the heavenly planetary system. Vedic cosmology accounts for this phenomena by the vertical motion of the sun, technically called Uttarayana and Dakshinayana. The sun moves upward on an incline for half a year and then downward for the next half. This motion produces two effects on Earth, namely the changing of the seasons and the varying durations of day and night. Ordinary vision sees the sun to be a mere globe of fire. However, celestial vision reveals a personality residing over the sun. His name is Vivasvan, and he rides on a golden chariot pulled by 7 divine horses at a speed of 16,000 miles per second. The chariot has one wheel which moves on celestial Manasotara mountain. The horizontal shaft is linked to the axial hub of the universe, Mount Meru, and the diagonal shaft is linked to the pole star. With each circular path, the wheel gradually moves laterally inward for 6 months and then outward for 6 months. Similar to the chariot's vertical motion, this lateral action fine-tunes seasonal changes on Earth. When the orbital motion of the sun is viewed from above, its illumination is seen to extend out to half of the greater Earth plane. During its orbit, the sun passes over the 4 cities situated in the 4 cardinal directions. The city over which the sun is passing experiences noon, and the city in the opposite direction experiences midnight. The 2 other cities experience sunrise and sunset. The zodiac is a conceptual celestial plate encompassing the entire sky. Like the face of a clock, the zodiac is divided into 12 divisions of 30 degrees each, called signs of the zodiac, or rashis. Each named according to the constellation of stars residing within them. These signs serve as a set of reference markers for measuring the movements of the moon, sun, and the planets. The zodiac completes one clockwise revolution of 360 degrees in every 24-hour period. The moon travels through the zodiac, but due to its slower angular velocity, it completes only about 347 degrees in 24 hours, falling behind by about 13 degrees. The day after the new moon day, we see one moon phase. The next day, the moon again completes 347 degrees, and we see the moon in its second phase. In this way, the moon appears to travel in the opposite direction through the zodiac. This is also called retrograde motion. Thus, the phases of the moon increase each day for 15 days until the full moon. Then the moon's phases decrease gradually by one phase each day until the dark moon night. The Srimad Bhagavatam describes the vertical positions of the planetary orbits. First above the Earth plane is the Sun at a height of 0.8 million miles. Next higher comes the Moon at 1.6 million miles, followed by the Nakshatras, 28 stars, at twice the height, then Venus, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Saptarishi constellation, and then finally the pole star at a height of 30.4 million miles. Although the Sun is 0.8 million miles above the Earth plane, its horizontal distance from the Earth is much greater. Although varying with the seasons, the mean Earth-Sun distance works out to be approximately 100 million miles. 80,000 miles below the Sun is a dark or invisible planet named Rahu. When this planet comes between Earth and the Sun on the new moon day, or Amavasya, while the moon is in the same conjunction or straight line, a solar eclipse takes place. The eclipse is full for those on Earth who are situated in line with the conjunction, while others may see it partially. Similarly, when Rahu comes between the Earth and the Moon on the full moon day, or Purnima, while the Sun is in the same conjunction, a lunar eclipse takes place. This is seen by anyone on Earth who can see the Moon. The eclipse is either full or partial depending on the movement of Rahu. At least 5,000 years ago, the Vedas were able to predict eclipses precisely. This science is still used today with the same extraordinary accuracy.
Thus, we have been through a great journey about discussing the structure of the universe, the creation of the universe, the creation of the living entities, and the working of the universe. One of the main intention of presenting all these details in order is just to impress upon all of us a attraction towards the Vedic way of presenting things. Generally, we see the words of the scriptures through our experience in this world. Instead, now on, let us try to experience the world through the words of the scriptures. So, we, based on our experience in our schools, with our parents, with our neighbors, with the media, we have understood about the working of this world, about the beginning of the world and the origin of species, and so many modern theories. But what scriptures are speaking about the same thing. So keeping that in mind, we have presented in these presentations about the subject matter. The one of the purpose which is advocated in the Bhagavatam itself is Mayam Varnayato Amusha Ishwarasya Anumodata Shrunvato Shraddhaya Nityam Maya Atmana Muhyati. Having heard these things regularly, having contemplated upon these things, having discussed these things, a person becomes careful about the influence of Maya, that he will be protected by the attack of Maya. The whole purpose of going through this extraneous journey of spiritual perfection is purification of our existence. Thank you very much. This is a tiny endeavor from our part to impress upon all the viewers about the authenticity and the unseemingly hidden message that is available in the Vedic literature. Thank you very much.